So welcome to tonight's show. You're with Tom, Brian and Steve, and this is NRL from the Sidelines, except we are missing a Tom.
Tom. A Tom.
So
Our stand-in Tom. No, Tom, no! Bad Tom!
So you know what this means, don't you? That we can say anything we like.
We can.
That we believe Tom would agree with.
Correct, like you did to me last week. Now, I just want everyone to know, like, Tom, you're missing Jersey Day.
Yeah, we had a special day today.
Just
today
Jersey
was
Day.
Jersey Day.
You've missed it.
So
Tough luck.
I'm really sad for you. And also, just to let everybody know, you've noticed the last few weeks we've been showing a game of football in the background. Well, YouTube have picked up on the fact that we do that, and so we're trying something new. I hope you like it, and I hope it's not too distracting for you. I mean, look at those three ugly mugs there. That's actually
YouTube don't like us doing that.
Actually, your head's almost as big as the one on the TV, you realise.
Wow, that's impressive.
Okay, so welcome to tonight's show. We are going to go through round 6 of the NRL that like we do every week.
We don't get through round 6 every week.
No, we don't get through round 6 every week.
Right.
So, this week, Brian,
Yes.
was an interesting weekend.
Was it?
It was. There
Why?
There were some results that we really didn't expect.
Yeah, it was some that we did expect.
Yeah, it was some we did.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
So, let's go through them.
Let's talk about the first game.
Let's talk about the first... I can't even think we're going. Okay. First game, GIO Stadium, where the North Queensland Cowboys beat the Raiders 18-12 after leading 12-0.
After the Raiders led 12-0.
Yes, after the Raiders led 12-0.
You know, there's not much to say about that game.
Okay, so you want to go to the next one? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I will say one thing.
Yep.
I think Ricky Stewart handled it really poorly in the press conference.
What do you mean?
He was asked, and a lot of the time, those people, the journalists in the press conference, asked ridiculous questions.
Yes.
But Ricky Stewart just dived in, both feet, and basically bagged every one of his players except for 3.
Yes.
He listed 3 as having decent games and then said, I'm not sticking up for him, I'm not defending him anymore, they're hopeless. And one of them was the bloke sitting next to him, his captain. And I just think, I like Ricky's raw emotion, and I like the way that he does his press conferences. I always think there's little gems in there, but I thought that was actually a bit average, because it wasn't. I mean, I know they played poorly, but Jason Tamalolo tore him up. He destroyed him.
Yeah, and he had his best game in a long time too, I thought. I mean, although I think this year he hasn't been too bad. He had his best game, but you've got to admit they really did fall apart in that second half.
Yeah, leading by 12 points at home, you shouldn't lose.
And they
Bad
gave
Raiders.
And they gave it up easy. I think that's what was so disappointing.
Yeah, okay. So that was game 1 of the weekend. It was a bit surprising, the result.
All right, so let's go to game 2, which wasn't surprising.
Ooh.
Rabbitohs beating Dogs 36-16.
What was the score before the sin bin, Steve?
Dogs were leading 6-0.
6-0.
It was only 6.
What was the time? What was the score after the sin bin player came back?
18-6. Okay.
Game was over at that point, really, wasn't it?
I knew you were going to bring up this point, or Tom would have brought it up. But you got to understand, most teams don't give up 3 tries when they lose 1 player.
True.
Okay. Also, the Dogs were playing quite well. I thought they were hanging. I don't think there seemed to be a time where they were on top of South, but it was a contest. It was a good contest.
Yeah.
And 3, stop giving away 6 agains. Seriously, there were...
I was about to grab my Tom head and say something.
There was a lot of 6 again. I've got to say, I was getting frustrated with the amount of times they were giving away a penalty or a 6 again.
Yep.
And Souths were as well, but just not as many.
Yep.
While Souths were attacking the line.
I'd like to we should discuss that after the round, though. But no, I agree. No, it was a good victory by Souths. Damien Cook had his best game in about 3 years.
He had a blinder, and he scored 3 tries, all under the post.
Yep. Oh, he was just he was dynamic.
Yep. And I've got to say, there's a young kid playing for Souths, Isaiah Tass,
Yes.
who there's a lot of raps on him, and it was good to see him get a debut, and it was good to see him score a try.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to him playing more football because I think he's going to be exceptional.
Excellent.
But what do you say about the Dogs?
We say that they're improving. I mean,
Are they?
Well, they scored 16 points. They couldn't score a point.
No, but
earlier on in the season.
Two of those were reasonably lucky.
But it doesn't matter. They still didn't have that rub of the green, and before Flanagan has come back into the side, they had no field position, no kicking game, no organisation, no structure. There's all little glimpses of that there now.
Yeah.
I actually think even though, I mean, you look at it and they lost by 20 points.
Yep.
They still are playing better than I think even the first game that they won. So I think there's glimmers of hopes there.
Okay, let's go to Bluebet Stadium where the Panthers beat the Broncos 40-12.
This is another game where there was a sin bin and a lot of points scored.
Yeah,
At
but
that
both
time.
teams went to 12. Let me ask you a question. Players slapping each other.
Oh,
Was it worth the sin bin?
no. I mean, all right.
Because it's not the first time it's happened. If we're going
All
to start sin binning
Okay.
for slapping.
Let me tell you, any normal person, any normal person, somebody walks up to you and slaps you in the face like that, your reaction is to slap them back.
Yes.
I think at this particular point, it was very harsh for Dylan Edwards to be sin-binned as well. You can't just let a bloke walk up to you and smack you in the face like that. Not when you're on a football field and it's that gladiatorial, one-upmanship.
Yeah.
You can't just let a bloke slap you in the face and keep walking. That's ridiculous.
I tend to agree. Although I do want to say here that I guess my challenge with all this is that Edwards said something to create the slap in the first place, then to create the slap back. No. All I'm saying is that in a game, it's always going to happen where someone's... And we'll talk about a game later where some stupid stuff was done.
Yep.
People will always slag each other. They'll sledge each other.
There's always going to be dumb stuff.
Always, so why react to it, I guess, is the thing. And I think the sin binning was an overreaction.
And I put up on our Facebook page, NRL from the Sidelines on Facebook, I thought the Panthers were lucky. And I don't know how you can win a game by 30 points and be lucky, but the Panthers just seemed to get the rub of the green. Everything went their way. And I actually thought the Broncos were in it. And then all of a sudden it was blink and, they were down. I thought the Broncos showed a lot of go, and they're finally going out to Katoni Staggs' side.
Okay,
and he is killing it.
So what do you say about now? The coach has now changed the halves again. Seriously, I think he's got to stick with a halves pairing and play it out. You can't change it every couple of weeks. It must be frustrating, Reynolds.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's something not right at the Broncos. So I'm not a huge fan of Tessie New, for example, at fullback. I think that your fullback drives your energy, drives the team's energy, and I think Tessie New sometimes sits back on his heels and just waits for things to happen.
Yep.
Selwyn Cobbo, I think, is a sensational player.
Yep.
He's wholehearted and he's big and skillful. I don't quite understand why they bring in Martin back to fullback for this week and then change a half. That doesn't make any sense. Yep. I don't understand that philosophy. So I will leave the coaching to Kevy and we'll see how we go.
All right. Okay, so let's go on to then Four Pines Park. Manly 26, Gold Coast Titans 18. They were coming to get them.
Tom, what do you think? I think this was a great game of football. I love those Sea Eagles. Oh, thanks, Tom. Appreciate your support, mate.
And I've heard him say that several times. That he really is a Sea Eagles supporter.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know
what happened to his voice.
It's all about the birds,
Oh, look. That was from a supporter's perspective. I find it really hard to not be, as we all do, I guess, to watch your team objectively.
No, I don't find it hard at all.
No, I know you don't. The rest of us do. Look, there was the Sea Eagles were on fire early on. They were playing great football, controlling the game, controlling the tempo. Everything was going well, and then half-time happened.
Yep.
And I don't know whether there was a mindset there where they just thought, this is it, we're just going to keep rolling on. And
it was 26-4 at half-time, wasn't it?
Oh, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't quite remember the halftime score. It was at halftime. It was. Oh, come on, Brian, find it. Look at this dead air. Dead air. I don't know. I missed
it was 24-4 because Cherry Evans kicked a penalty goal at the end.
Something like that. They were totally dominant. And then there were a lot of 6 again and penalties that the Titans, they just had a roll of them.
Yep.
And it was one of those games that went from very, very free-flowing to very stop-start. Yep. And that played into the Titans' hands. And then, there's a lot of criticism of David Fafita over at the Titans.
Yep.
I think he's a bit like Tony Staggs. He doesn't go looking for the ball. He stays on his edge and waits. And when you're doing that, if the Titans' attack doesn't come that way, it doesn't go that way.
Yep.
I think the criticism is not justified. And I thought that he has, in the last 2 games, scored barnstorming tries, and that's what he's being paid to do.
Yep.
So,
okay, I missed something. Sorry, I want to go back to the Penrith game for a minute. And the tackle by Nathan Cleary.
I wasn't necessarily going to bring that up, but yeah, okay, let's go.
Well, I wanted to bring it up because there has been talk over the last few weeks because, some teams seem to get more of the rub of the green and they're the top teams and so forth. And we're going to start talking about the Roosters in a minute.
Yep.
And they got some decisions go their way too that wouldn't normally have gone.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that criticism is justified, that the top teams get the rub of the green. That tackle of Cleary's could have went either way. I think if Walters had stayed down, then Cleary, there would have been an on-field repercussion from that.
So are we saying that you have to injure a player before we'll penalise?
No, I'm saying that the game moved on. I'm saying that the tackle was completed, the play moved on, and then we as viewers were watching replays of that. I'm thinking it was a dangerous tackle. He wrapped his leg around and he twisted his body weight. And for whatever reason, I disagree last week that Paulo made contact with your head. His shoulder hit him and it was whiplash when he hit the ground.
Yep.
This was whiplash when Billy Walters hit the ground, and there was no repercussion.
But should it have been more than... I think it was such a dangerous tackle that I think it should have been more than $1,000 fine.
I think the result of it... I don't think that he deliberately... And this is the thing, it's not deliberate. I don't think he deliberately went out there
I don't think any player goes out.
I don't think he deliberately went out there to twist his ankle, drop his body weight, and slam his head into the ground.
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
All right.
And should it have been more than $1,000 fine? As I said on the Facebook page, well, that's like me being fined $8. Yeah, it's worth it. It's like, the bloke just signed a $1.3 million contract. Well, let's fine him $1,000. I mean, geez.
Yes, I know.
Anyway,
all right.
My apology.
So let's go on to Melbourne Storm and the Cronulla Sharks. This was a good game.
Yeah.
Melbourne winning 34-18. I got to say, I'm surprised they scored as many points as they did.
But this was the same. This was like, how did it happen? It was like, blink, hang on a second.
Yep.
The game's away from the Sharks.
Yep.
It just happened so fast.
Was there a time when you thought the Sharks would win the game?
Yes.
Was there? I didn't think there was.
Well, I'd picked the Storm. I thought they were going to win, 8 to 10 points.
Yep.
But there was a time then. There was a time there when, particularly when Talakai scored.
Yep.
I thought the Sharks are in this. They could get away with it. They were just playing expansive football. Nico Hines was absolutely killing it, and then, Cameron Munster switched it on, and it was, lights out for the Sharks.
Yeah.
And I know that if you're a Sharks supporter, you've got to be disappointed with that result, but there was, like I said, it just happened.
Yeah.
Like they were just that good.
Yeah. I've got to say, the completion rate, 82% for Storm, 85% for the Sharks.
Yep.
It was just a good game.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
a really good game to watch. It was fast, it was flowing, it was everything you want in a game, and yet Munster was absolutely on fire.
Head and shoulders above everyone else.
And they want to downgrade his salary.
Well, I think if they only want to pay him what's the reported amount, then I think my club should throw that into the ring.
Listen, I tell you what, any club who's got $1 million to spare will throw their hat in the ring.
I think it's not even $1 million. If they're not offering him, just match it.
Yeah, that's right.
So mate, look,
Yep.
we'll bump you up. Sign a 5-year contract.
Tom would say he's going to the Roosters.
Oh, and he'd go there for the love of the game.
400,000 they'll take him for.
Less.
But because he wants to be coached.
Yeah, by Trent. Yeah.
Understand. It must be hard for us to not be able to compete with that. Okay, let's go. In fact, let's talk about the Sydney Roosters, who were lucky to get out of jail against the Warriors, 22-14.
What do you think, Tom? I think my team just got the rub of the green all the time there.
Tom's going to hate us when he comes back, He's going to hate you because I think you're driving this. I'm going to tell him you're driving this.
Oh, that's all right.
I do have notes from Tom.
Oh, here we go. Here's Tom's extensive notes on the round of football. Go.
Roosters are playing ugly but winning. And there are green shoots. I don't understand it. So slow, but heading in the right direction. This is my summation of this week.
Right. So what he's saying is the Roosters are a terrible football team
but winning.
Who play ugly, and that's usually ugly by getting penalties that other teams don't get and taking advantage of them. And there's green shoots. Is that a reference to money?
No, I think he's saying there's some life. Let's go that far. I think he's saying there's some life somewhere.
Oh.
Green shoots, new life that seems to be coming up.
Yep. Oh look, I think probably the turning point in that game was the Warriors on the attack.
Yep.
Everybody knows that we're trying to speed up the play of the ball and clean up the ruck. Warriors players tackled. Teddy holds onto his leg. No penalty. No nothing. Just play on. That was a professional foul with the Warriors on the attack, and Teddy should have been in the bin for 10.
But again, do we bring it back to this unconscious bias where the top team gets the rub of the green over the bottom, over the lesser team?
We can talk about it now if you like. I was going to save it to the end. I don't think so. I think what it is those good teams that are successful control the game, control the ball, control the tempo of the game. And at that point, when things are going their way and everything's being controlled by the team in possession, things start to slow down for the opposition. And unfortunately, our game is at the moment, with the 6 again rule, if you are in control of a game, then you keep that stranglehold, which is why Ricky was probably so upset after blowing a 12-point lead. So I don't think it's necessarily a conscious thing. I think, and so I used the Manly Sharks game as an example early on. Manly had all the ball in the first half. The Titans couldn't get control of the ball. Manly had 6 again penalty. Second half rolls around. The Titans start to get more possession. They're a little bit slower getting off, and all of a sudden that starts to flow back the other way.
Yep.
I think the good teams control it. And that's why your halves are worth way more than they're getting paid, because they control that game.
Well, you're right. I mean, to some of the stronger clubs, a mistake like that is just passed.
It's a mistake and it's next.
They just move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's
we don't sit here talking about it because
it's like the Dogs. Like they had a player sin binned and they fell apart and they had 3 tries scored against them. The good sides don't do that.
No.
They have a player sin bin and they work their defensive structures and play with 12.
That's right.
Anyway.
All right, let's go on to Wynn Stadium where St George, I think, were lucky to get out of jail. 21-16 against the Knights.
The talking point of this game isn't that it's the Dragons' second win in 13 games, even though you picked them for the 8.
Yes, okay. You know what? In life, you make some mistakes, okay?
The talking point is two things. One, at half time in the game, it was reported that Kalen Ponga, that the Knights had withdrawn their offer.
Yep.
He's since re-signed.
Yes.
And a brain snap by Zach Lomax. Well, for those that didn't, how could you not have seen it?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's been on every football show.
Tyson
now for the last 3
Frizzell
days.
made an error. The Sharks scored. Zach Lomax runs in 30 metres and jumps on his back and celebrates the error with the player that made the error from the opposition team. Now, at that point, that was stupid.
Yes.
Tyson Frizzell then chases the bloke for 5 or 6 metres, grabs him, and hoiks him into the ground with a ferocity that was perhaps a bit excessive.
Well, we would have thought it was a good tackle if it was through the game.
Oh, grabbing a jersey like that. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that.
You saw at the end of the game where Clemmer then pulled him aside
Yep.
and said, and well, I don't know what he said, but it would have been, do that again,
Yep.
and I'm coming for you.
It just, I mean, Zach Lomax is a very good footballer with a ton of potential. But
Yeah, look, it was dumb, but you know what? I don't think it's any different to what sometimes we were criticising Penrith for last year. It's just an arrogance that probably in Zach Lomax's case went wrong.
it was a bit undeserved. It was the Dragons.
He probably wasn't even planning it. It was just a snap decision, and it was a dumb decision.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yeah, and I actually do think he deserved to get. I don't know. If I was the on-field ref, there would have been a repercussion on the field for
it's
that.
hardly the end of the world.
No,
But anyway,
but anyway. So, but the Dragons got the win. Hoorah! I didn't pick them.
neither did I. Actually.
No one did.
Let's go on to Combank Stadium, where Parramatta Eels went down to the West Tigers 21-20. I thought this was a really good game as well. I was enjoying this because the Tigers were in it all the way.
The Tigers controlled the game,
Yes.
and then in the last 15 minutes, all that control went out the window, and they decided to play on emotion like they have been doing.
Yes, they panicked a little bit. But you know what? There were 3 times
Yep.
that they could have kicked a field goal before that last one and didn't.
I know.
It didn't seem to be working for them each time, but you would have thought you've got Hastings and you've got Brooks. They should have been able to organise to say, look, get me in front of the post and let me have a kick.
Yep.
Not leaving it to the last 2 seconds.
So it worked, Luke Brooks. And Jackson Hastings said it. He said, well, now you can lay off Luke Brooks for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And Madge.
He has come back to the NRL a much matured player.
Oh, yeah.
I just wish that my club had handled the situation with him differently and he had stayed.
Yeah.
Because he is definitely a match winner.
Yeah.
Now, my question without notice, Steve.
Yes.
What do we think of Mitchell Moses this week?
I thought he had a good game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Geez, a top halfback because he can ice he can ice a game against the last place team that hasn't won. Oh, no, hang on, he didn't. I'll just throw that out there. That's look.
I think you're being unfairly critical of Moses.
I'm not.
Not every halfback ices every game. Even Cooper Cronk lost a game or 2.
What?
Believe it or not.
No, but the way that it works with all those Parramatta supporters out there is I'm a heel because I don't like Mitchell Moses. I think he goes missing when the game's on the line. If you are getting paid $1 million a year, you are the halfback of a team that is heading towards the pointy end of the premiership.
Yep.
You ice the game against the team that hasn't won all year. You don't miss field goals. You don't take your foot off their throat. His kicking game disappeared.
It did, but it wasn't all his fault. I mean, there were
No.
What were their completions? It was very low.
But,
No,
what was it?
70%.
Yeah, that's
Not
better than
bad.
average. And most of that
Average.
And most of that 70%, most of that 30% was in the last part of the game, when he really needed to control it and didn't. I'm not I'm not hating on the bloke.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm just
He is.
I'm just saying he's not the be all and end all. Thank you.
All right, can you do the ladder?
Oh, do the ladder.
Do the ladder.
Let me do the ladder. All right, because in first place we have the Penrith Panthers undefeated with 6 starts, 6 wins.
Yep.
I don't know how that happened. Then we have the Storm in second, and then we have a plethora of teams in third. We have the Sea Eagles, the Roosters, the Sharks.
I don't think that's third place, but go on.
They are all on 8 points, Steve. They all have won 4 games.
So you're saying the next spot is fourth?
Seventh. Is seventh.
Oh, seventh.
Yeah, 7th. So in 7th we have the Cowboys and the Warriors and the lucky little bunnies.
I think that's the
lucky,
wrong order,
lucky
but
little
go
bunny
on.
foot. And then we come down to Titans, Knights, Raiders, Dragons, Broncos, all with 2 wins, and the Tigers and the Doggies with 1 win each.
And how good is it that the Tigers won that game and came off the bottom?
Yep.
They didn't even stay on the bottom.
No, they didn't.
And I've got to say about the Tigers too, their defence the last few weeks has been pretty good. I mean, it's not like they're being beaten by 30 and 40 every week. So
no, it's that it's just their cohesion in attack that's missing.
All right, let's go on to round 7,
Ooh,
Brian.
yes.
We're going to go through this reasonably quickly because we are getting a bit over time. So Cronulla Sharks at Point Bet Stadium playing the Manly Warringah Sea Eagles.
Look, Manly don't have any forwards left, and we're still going to beat them.
Cronulla are going to smash them.
Smash them.
Smash them.
How dare you?
Oh, I dare. And Tom's gone Sharks as well, by the way.
Tom's a hater. Are you sure you don't want to change tip? Yes, Brian, I want to pick the Sea Eagles. They're awesome. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that.
Okay, let's go on to Suncorp Stadium. Well done, Tom. Suncorp Stadium where the Broncos are playing the Bulldogs.
The Bulldogs will not win this game.
No, I agree. I think
the
Broncos as well.
For those that are listening, the Bulldogs have just had like 8 players test positive to COVID and have to draw on outside of their 25 listed players in order to put a team on the field.
Yes.
The Broncos should get away with that, which means Kevy's half changes is a masterstroke. All right.
All right, let's go Country Bank Stadium where the North... by the way, I went Broncos as well. Country Bank Stadium where the North Queensland Cowboys are playing the Gold Coast Titans.
I think the Titans on this one.
No, I'm going Cowboys, actually.
Why? I've just got a feeling that the Titans have now lost to really tight games.
Yep.
Against Parramatta and then against Manly. And I know the Cowboys have just got up against the Raiders, but I just feel like they're about to turn a corner.
Okay. No, I think I'll be going Cowboys in that one. And Tom will be doing Titans. Okay.
Nicely done, Tom.
Okay. Combank Stadium, Tigers and the South Sydney Rabbitohs.
How much will the Tigers win by? That is the question.
Are you going to pick them?
No.
No. I didn't, but you know what? Tom's given me his tips, and he's going to pick the Tigers.
The Roosters. Of course he's going to pick the Roosters.
He's going to pick the Tigers.
I can't. I don't think one win makes a season, and Souths are playing a little bit more consistently. They've got more guns.
Yeah, they're starting to find their straps. It's taken them a while.
Yep.
But they're starting to find it. Okay, let's go on to McDonald Jones Stadium where Newcastle Knights against the Parramatta Eels.
Yep. I'm actually going to go the Knights.
Are you?
Yeah. I think the Kalen Ponga contract drama over. I think Adam Clune back at halfback. And I think the Eels will come out and try and blow them off the park. And the Knights will run with them. And I think it'll be a really tight game. And so I'm going to go the Knights at Newcastle.
No, I'm going Parramatta because I think they're going to get hammered this week at training because of their loss last week. And they'll have a point to prove.
We'll see.
Tom's gone the Eels, by the way.
Of course he has.
Penrith Panthers and Canberra Raiders at Bluebet Stadium.
Ricky may as well just blow up now. Panthers, I think, by plenty.
Yeah, I agree. So does Tom. Sydney Cricket Ground on Anzac Day. St George against the Sydney Roosters.
The Roosters will account for the
St
Dragons.
George always turn up for this game.
The Roosters will account for the Dragons.
St George always turn up for this game.
What do you think, Tom? I think he's going Sydney Roosters.
I'm
going Sydney Roosters.
I'm pretty sure he is too. But no, I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one because
Steve, they've won 2 games now in 13 weeks. That's all.
And yeah, I get that. But tell me,
they were average against the Knights. That was an average game.
And how excited were you with the Roosters against the Warriors?
All right, yeah, the Roosters were pretty bad too. But, you talk about Souths having guns. The Roosters have got the guns too.
Yeah, but South's guns are firing. The Roosters aren't at the moment.
That's true too.
Okay, and last game against in Amy Park, Melbourne Storm against the Warriors.
The Warriors have got a really good record. Not a good record. They always put up a fight on Anzac Day at Amy Park.
Yep.
It is always a tighter game than you'd like to think it would be. And I think that the Storm will still win easily.
Yeah, so do I.
I don't know what else to say.
You were trying to give them some hope, weren't you?
I was.
All right, we're coming to the end of the show. Is there anything intelligent you want to end with before we go?
I just want to say my fantasy league team's going awesomely. How's yours?
I lost last week.
Yes.
By 16 points, and I had one player who didn't play.
Well, you got to keep it on the team.
I did. I looked at it on Thursday. He was in the team.
Team list Tuesday, mate. Get it going.
On Thursday, he was in the team.
Who?
I don't know. Bromwich.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. I lost one of mine by a handful of points, and it was yeah.
Yeah, so I lost.
But the guy who I played had Damien Cook, David Fafita, like all these blokes who scored triples. Just yeah.
I was so disappointed, so I lost by 16 points.
Yep. Manly, no forwards, no Tom, no worries. That's all I've got to finish on.
Sure, thank you. All right, this is NRL from the Sidelines, and you're with Steve and Brian and
Hello.
Tom.
Goodbye.
And we'll do it all again next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.